Welcome to GRCC's online tutor training. This presentation will explore the role of the tutor as a model employee. Please complete this training after Role of the Tutor Part 1, Content Assistant. In addition to content expertise, you will be expected to follow the basic guidelines and policies as defined by GRCC and academic support. The purpose of this training will be to review and clarify these responsibilities. By the end of this presentation, you should understand the expectations of you as an employee, as well as the requirements for the certification procedure. As an employee at GRCC, you will have responsibilities in three main categories: training, duties on the job, and expectations for continued employment. As a future tutor, you had to meet certain criteria. You were recommended by an instructor, passed a criminal background check, had a minimum GPA of 3.0, and for student tutors, you had to be enrolled in at least 6 credits. In order for you to maintain employment, you will also have to complete trainings, both in person and online. Throughout your time here at GRCC, you will be required to adhere to the college and departmental policies and procedures. The goal of this module is to inform you of what these responsibilities are, as well as how and when to complete them. We hope in putting together this training that you'll become a better, more thoughtful tutor. While we already believe you do good work, we strive for excellence in our tutorial programs. In the end, this means you will have to be an excellent tutor. Teaching and learning by its nature requires constantly thinking about what we do and how we do it. The training process at GRCC has 4 basic steps. We train, we do, we reflect, then we share. Training points us in the right direction by leveraging the experience of others. Experience gained through tutoring, however, is where we do the majority of our learning. Thinking about our experiences lets us reflect on what we did, how we did it, and where we may need to improve. Finally, we share what we have learned with each other through future trainings, and the cycle begins again. Besides making us better tutors, training provides us with consistency in service delivery. GRCC has well over 100 tutors and several supervisors. In order to be a cohesive department that provides service across the entire college, we need to make sure that all of us are working off the same guidelines. By establishing a common set of principles and expectations, students understand their own responsibilities as well as the tutor's role in the learning process, and know that this will remain consistent across disciplines at GRCC. This allows our students to smoothly transition from semester to semester and from course to course. But training is about more than just consistency. Training also ensures everyone is knowledgeable about college policies and legal obligations. It may not be an everyday occurrence, but we all need to know how to deal with confidential student information, be aware of campus safety issues, as well as ADA regulations. And finally, training not only allows you to continue to improve as a tutor, it will also strengthen your academic skills and will transfer to your professional life after GRCC. Our department is committed to mentoring tutors and encouraging professional activities and behaviors. GRCC's tutoring program is certified through the College Reading and Learning Association. This means that our program has been thoroughly reviewed and meets the highest standards of tutorial support. In order to continue your employment with GRCC's tutoring services, you must attain your Level 1 CRLA tutor certification by the end of your first semester. This is done through in-person and online trainings. You will also be required to tutor students a minimum of 25 hours before you qualify for certification. Documentation for completion of training modules, as well as tracking your time spent tutoring, will have to be uploaded to a Blackboard storage site. As a final step, you will be evaluated through peer and supervisor review. Besides training for tutoring purposes, GRCC and federal law requires that all employees complete annual trainings on a variety of topics. This includes, but is not limited to, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also known as FERPA, sexual harassment, hazardous materials, and Title IX, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of gender. Watch your email for notifications and please complete these trainings in a timely manner. But relax. You do get paid if required to complete these trainings outside your regularly scheduled work hours. Contact your supervisor if you have any questions. Once you begin tutoring, there are certain expectations we have for all our tutors. First, work the hours you're expected to work. Make sure to establish a communication plan with your supervisor for any possible last-minute issues that may prevent you from arriving on time. If you have a conflict and can't work your shift, let your supervisor know as soon as possible. Your fellow tutors, as well as students seeking assistance, are depending on you. Secondly, how you dress is important. Your name tag sets you apart from other students and helps people readily identify you. In addition, while it is okay to wear jeans, attire should always be appropriate for a professional setting. You are in a leadership role, so professionalism is expected and will help to make your sessions more effective by putting your students at ease. Third, maintain confidentiality. You're going to learn a lot about your fellow students, both academically and personally. You might know their schedule, grades, or scores on their tests. They may choose to share information with you about their personal life. All information is confidential. It is important to show respect to every person you encounter, both students and staff, as you represent this department at all times. Making students feel at ease with the process is an important part of tutoring. It will help build a student's confidence in you as a tutor if you make sure to focus all of your attention on them. When speaking with someone, give them your undivided attention. They deserve it. Listen carefully. Listening is not just about hearing the words someone is speaking. Good listeners pay attention to inflection, speed, and what is not being said. We notice their facial expressions, their posture, and their gestures. As humans, true communication is a combination of what is being said and what is expressed physically. How you respond to this communication is paramount to your understanding of the student's question and your success as a tutor. Unfortunately, your friendliness and success as a tutor can also lead to interruptions during sessions. Students know you are a tutor. They've got a question that can't wait, but you're with another student. They will interrupt and ask you in any way. How will you handle that scenario? It is important to have some key phrases in place that will let students know we work on a first-come, first-served basis. While we want everyone to feel valued, we usually have to work with students one at a time and need to be able to convey that message in a polite way. Try saying, "I'll be with you as soon as I finish here." Eventually, you may be able to alternate between both students. At the appropriate time, suggest practice activities to the first student, which will then free you to work with the second student. Allowing a student to work for a short time on their own builds independence and confidence in their skills. It also gives you time to start the second student on the right track. Just be sure to always check back frequently with both students. As you work with students, always be aware of and follow college and departmental policies. This means you may occasionally need to have an uncomfortable conversation. For example, I don't like telling a mother that she has to take her children out of the lab, but students need an environment conducive to studying. Any disruptions to this atmosphere should be handled in a professional manner. Refer to your supervisor and the tutorial manual for a complete list of relevant policies and guidance on how to enforce said policies. Students don't always know how the lab works. They won't necessarily ask questions. If they look confused or if you see them flipping pages back and forth, ask if they are doing okay. Be friendly and ask their name. Once you get to know them, they will become more comfortable working in the lab and will start to ask questions on their own. Continuous circulation promotes a welcoming environment which invites questions. This also means checking in the computer lab to see if anyone there might need your assistance. It is human nature to talk to those around us, especially our coworkers. Unfortunately, it discourages students from approaching us with questions. It causes distractions and interferes with the professional atmosphere we are trying to promote in the labs. Please limit congregating and casual conversation. If you work in a drop-in tutorial lab, not all of your time will be spent discussing content with students. In this case, your content expertise may be used to help develop or revise resources for student usage. If no projects are available, speak with your supervisor. They will have specific policies for the situation. One of the things you could do is to work on completing the online modules for your CRLA certification. It can take a while to complete one module though, so be sure to check that the lab has sufficient coverage before you begin. Paperwork is a part of every job, even tutoring. Timesheets are how you get paid. Fill them out properly. As I'm sure you're well aware, not reporting your time means you won't get paid. If you forget to turn in your timesheet, we won't be calling to remind you, so make sure you turn it in by the time requested. You will also be asked to participate in a peer review process. Honest evaluations and constructive feedback will help identify your strengths and weaknesses as a tutor. Building on these strengths and working to improve on weaknesses is how you become an expert in this field. The peer review process is also an important part of receiving your CRLA certification. You will be evaluated by both your peers and your supervisor. But don't worry, it is a painless process which is intended to help you become a better employee both now and in the future. Now that we have covered the majority of what to expect as a GRCC employee, there are a few other random tidbits you will need to know. Depending on your shift length, you will be able to take some paid and/or unpaid breaks. For break policies, please speak with your supervisor. In order to track student usage, determine hours, and staffing, our department utilizes a computer swipe system for students to use while entering and leaving the tutorial lab. Please politely remind and encourage students to use this system. While food and drink policies will vary by area, all computer labs have a no food and drink policy. Fried hard drives and stained carpets have occurred due to students ignoring this policy. Please keep your eyes open and encourage student compliance. And finally, we want to remind you that if you are using college resources, such as a college computer or the college internet, even if you are using it on your phone, anything you access can be requested by the college or by any other entity. When you first started your job, you signed an acceptable use agreement. Be sure you have read this agreement and abide by it. And finally, we want to remind you that if you are using college resources, such as a college computer or the college internet, even if you are using it on your phone, anything you access can be requested by the college or by any other entity. When you first started your job, you signed an acceptable use agreement. Be sure you have read this agreement and abide by it. Maintaining enrollment with a minimum of 6 credits per semester is critical. This is a GRCC campus-wide policy. Any student who falls below this requirement will be asked to stop working immediately. But we do not want it to get to the point where you are even considering dropping a class. First and foremost, you are a student. Your status as an employee at GRCC should always be secondary to your responsibilities as a student. If you begin to have trouble in a class, talk to your supervisor. We can decrease your hours if needed and help get you to the support you need. You are important to us. Our job is not just to tutor students, but also to support you to become the best that you can be. This job can help to improve your skills, not just as a content expert, but as a valuable employee. But more than that, tutoring can be a fun, flexible, and educational opportunity. GRCC is a stepping stone to the rest of your life. Use your time as a tutor not only to retain content-specific skills, but to expand your people skills and gain valuable job experiences. As with any new job, there are many new things to learn. We are in the business of answering questions, so if you have some, ask us. We hope this training has been useful and somewhat interesting for you. If, in the future, you have questions or would like some advice, be sure to ask your supervisor. Please turn in your responses to the corresponding assessment. Thank you for your time and attention.